I don't know if you've been following the story or not, but the Trump administration has accidentally deported a father from Maryland. Accidentally, I guess. Watch this.
Folks, somehow this story just keeps getting worse and worse. We're now learning additional information about the people who Donald Trump essentially abducted and sent to an El Salvadoran prison camp. Well, as Yoni Applebaum reports in a new court filing this evening, the Trump administration said that it had mistakenly deported a Maryland father to the El Salvadoran prison camp due to a, quote, administrative error. The article goes on to say in Monday's court filing, attorneys for the government admitted that the Salvadoran man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was deported accidentally. Quote, although ICE was aware of his protection from removal to El Salvador, Abrego Garcia was removed to El Salvador because of an administrative error, the government told the court. Trump lawyers said the court has no ability to bring him back now that Abrego Garcia is in Salvadoran custody. So not only did they send this innocent man to an El Salvadoran prison camp, essentially these concentration camps they have set up in El Salvador, but they are refusing to bring him back to the United States. And this follows a whole host of other stories that we have heard about people being sent to this prison camp, even though they were here legally because of tattoos. Like one of these people had a tattoo that said mom. One of these people had an autism awareness tattoo. One of these people had a Real Madrid tattoo. But the Trump administration did not let those facts get in the way of their story, of their scam, of their atrocious, immoral, illegal actions. We're going to make sure we're highlighting all of the crimes that they are committing and everything this horrific administration is doing. So make sure to follow our account and add the Midas Touch podcast right now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
So, the Trump administration illegally nabbed somebody who wasn't supposed to be deported. They admit to doing so in court filings. They say they can't bring the guy back, even though he's in the custody of a foreign nation in which we're allegedly working with to build more prisons for our people. So you'd think that there would be some ability to negotiate his return. And don't you know, even though the Trump administration has admitted that this was a mistake, that doesn't stop J.D. Vance from attacking the father who was illegally deported. Strange breed of liar. J.D. Vance slammed as he demonizes innocent man sent to El Salvador. The Trump administration has already admitted that it deported Kilmer Abrego Garcia, a legally protected immigrant in Maryland, to an infamous mega prison in El Salvador by mistake, but Vice President J.D. Vance is doubling down on insisting otherwise. According to The Atlantic, the Trump administration acknowledged in a court filing Monday that it had grabbed a Maryland father with protected legal status and mistakenly deported him to El Salvador, but said the U.S. courts lack jurisdiction to order his return from the mega prison where he's now locked up. The case appears to be the first time the Trump administration has admitted to errors when it sent 3 plane loads of Salvadorian and Venezuelan deportees to El Salvador's grim terrorism confinement center on March 15th. This comes amid several allegations which the Trump administration denies that some people were targeted for arrest and deported solely because they had tattoos, with one baker in Dallas purportedly being targeted over an autism awareness tattoo. Even though the administration lawyers have acknowledged the error, however, Vance is publicly insisting on social media that Garcia was in fact a member of the infamous Central American MS-13 gang, citing as evidence court records that do not in fact say this. Any comment on this at Marco Rubio? How about you at JD Vance, at Elon Musk? You just admitted to accidentally sending an innocent father from Maryland to a torture dungeon in El Salvador, and you refused to do anything about it, stated podcaster Jean Favreau on Twitter. To which Vance responded, my comment is that according to the court document you apparently didn't read, he was a convicted MS-13 gang member with no legal right to be here. My further comment is that it's gross to get fired up about gang members getting deported while ignoring citizens they victimize. Vance also attacked political legal reporter Kyle Cheney, who was covering the story as, quote, unable or unwilling to look at the facts, adding that, quote, in 2019, an immigration judge under the Biden administration determined that the deported man was in fact a member of the MS-13 gang. Quote, Vance is badly wrong here, wrote attorney Aaron Reichlin-Melnick of the American Immigration Council. In 2019, a police informant alleged the guy was in MS-13. He spent a year in ICE detention as a result, then won his case. He's been out for the last 5 years, married to a U.S. citizen, and has 2 kids, and still has no criminal record at all. J.D. Vance needs to work on his reading comprehension because the court document says he was never convicted of being a gang member, and the Trump administration itself admits he was only deported due to an administrative error, wrote political analyst Judd Lejeune. I don't know if that's how you say his last name. This is cruelty and incompetence resulting in moral catastrophe. Vance is such a strange breed of liar because it's precisely his appeal to facts and his desire to appear in command of them that trips him up and allows him to be caught, wrote former New York Times culture reporter David Itzkoff. This man was not a gang member. The court said he was not a gang member. He's been in this country for 5 years. He's married, has kids, has no criminal record, and the Trump administration has already admitted that this was a fuck-up. And there's J.D. Vance going, nope, he had no legal right to be in this country because J.D. Vance doesn't know how to do this shit. J.D. Vance has no fucking clue what he's doing. He just knows he needs to try and appear to say whatever the fuck it is he thinks Donald Trump wants him to say so that he doesn't get Mike Penced.